called Marketing Raven, which I personally urge everyone to subscribe to. From his work in Goretti in Kenya's haircare industry to managing marketing and city, Sagar's broad experience and creative passion make him an inspiring figure in marketing, both experiencing the fields of science as well as art. Sagar had completed his MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. With his diverse experience himself, Marketing Raven, which I personally urge everyone to subscribe to. From his work in Goretti in Kenya's haircare industry to managing each of his cities, Sagar's broad experience and creative passion, and I think an inspiring figure in marketing, both in not only of science as well as art. Sagar had completed his MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade with his diverse experience himself, which I personally urge everyone to subscribe to. From his work in Goretti in Kenya's haircare industry, Sagar's broad experience and creative passion, and I think an inspiring figure in marketing, both in not only of science as well as art. Sagar had completed his MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade with his diverse experience himself, which I personally urge everyone to subscribe to.
Most of you guys will look to build your career.
Desktop audio बंद कर.
It's quite similar to most of the industries, but how marketing is different in healthcare is that here your target customer is not the one who is going to consume the product. See, most of the sectors, your final consumer is the same where you want to target your product. But in healthcare, especially pharmaceutical, you want to sell your product to doctors, not the one who is going to consume the product. And that customer is almost 20-30 times knowledgeable than you. When you go and interact with that customer, when you sell that product, right? So marketing in that space is altogether different. You don't sell your product, you sell the concept. You sell your USP. You sell science. First is the science and second is the service. That's how different the market is, especially when it comes to healthcare and focus on pharmacy.
Thank you so much. I'll circle back to that, but now I have a question for you guys. you come from an alcohol landscape. I always had a very fundamental question. Unlike the products that you have, like if I take Zara, they have something called as a fast fashion model. They conjure a desire, they get all the supply chain wrapped up, and in 7 days you have a product in your store. But I don't think that's the case when it comes to alcohol industry. You have your product literally takes years to get done. So in that scenario, how exactly do you
we have a little bit more hold. Still, I say it is still private because you have a lot of regulations, you have a lot of excise related things. In fact, tomorrow you are telling today that a single bottle cannot go out of a factory unless and until the excise officer at the unit actually signs. And that is at the Indian level. Imagine the ones that we're actually getting, we're getting from outside. So it's a long line. Any down anywhere. Again, a logistics, it can be a ocean, anything can go. Someday you come to know that the Panama Canal, some issue will happen. We things are just stuck there. What's going to happen? And think of all the things that go with it. Like insure, go to market. You might have launched something in the market. For example, we are just recently we have launched the video in India. And from a very personal experience, we are running to quick prices because they were trying to find and we were trying to get some products along with it. So we should go with the package. That's something for the Diwali and holidays. And we were unable it's like a fully a flock of machine which we all that down. And little bit I would like to emphasize here on digitization. That is the only one thing that's helping us keep as many as factors possible. channels of marketing, right? Now, when you're marketing to the consumer, there are different channels of marketing that become relevant versus when you're marketing to the trade, because by virtue of your target group is different, different channels of marketing become relevant. I hope I've been able to answer your question of different, what do I do? I market that to the retailer.
And I think it's happening in every industry. It's the quantum of the marketing. Like even in pharma business, you consider a doctor as a kind of a trade partner only. Na? Ultimately, the product has to be consumed by someone else, right? The product has to be consumed by a patient. Then the doctor becomes a kind of a trade. He's a trade partner for you. He is going to pass on your product to another one. Here he becomes an influencer. Here he becomes a kind of both influencer as well as your channel partner. And that diversity happens typically in every industry. So when one is like Aditi was mentioning, कि हमारे दिमाग में क्या होता है मार्केटिंग मतलब दो चार ऐड बनाया हैं बिलबोर्ड लगाया that's not typically how you perceive of marketing. You need to understand the entire channel consumer chain, who are all consumer, how I can influence them, and that varies from industry to industry, and it can't be a kind of a one-person marketing. You have to market your product probably to 5, 6 different stakeholders with a different intent. Because consumer behavior is going to be different. For you, even doctor is a consumer and a person, a chemist who is keeping your goods. He is also a kind of a target customer only. So that's how diversified marketing is, and that's the landscape it gives you to explore also, both ways. Therefore, thinking marketing only from a point of view like advertising कर देना, दो चार poster लगा देना is typically not. Sorry, but it's like not that I want to scare you कि marketing ऐसा होता है. No, it's like our role is to bring you guys more closer to the reality. So that once you go to this market, you understand there's a lot of a dimension which needs to be explored beyond typical and our understanding, our textbook understanding. Yeah. Sorry.
Thanks for breaking the myth for them.
So we thought these myths would have been broken once we were students.
Well, the industry has a very large shadow. But essentially the point Aditi and Jeet are making is the difference of consumer and a customer. Now in Aditi's industry, being a part of Coke, she has a bit of luxury on brand marketing on how it can be done. But Jeet, how does that conundrum work in pharmaceutical industry? Let me give you an example. So let's say either a customer will know the brand name that he's looking for, like 8 crocin, give me 1 crocin. Or he'll say, give me a paracetamol drug. Now it's up. I mean, if he's educated enough. So then it's the onus of either the shopkeeper who is present there to give what brand of paracetamol that he can pass on to. So how do you build this brand equity in a regulated industry like pharmaceuticals?
Industry like pharmaceutical, probably we have a bit more luxury that the final consumer hardly has any say. Right? When I say that, although we can target those consumers, those target points are primarily to increase the repeated consumption. Once it comes, who is the right customer to target? It is primarily a healthcare professional. And especially healthcare industry, I don't think something is written by a doctor, we will like to change or we will like to question that. Right? If we can question his wisdom, then probably we would have not gone and consulted him. Right? We would not have consulted. So that's a kind of an influence healthcare consultant carries. And when you look to build a brand, probably he's the right person, and he can only build your brand, and he can only recommend your brand, because this all chain in this In marketing, whether you talk about distributor or a chemist, probably they may have a 5-6% role. Out of our wisdom, out of our Google knowledge, we try to research the product and say, किसी ने बी फार्मेसी किया होगा तो उसको थोड़ा बहुत नॉलेज होगा तो इससे यार पैरासिटामोल ही है, this is a huge difference in pricing, let me consume this product. Otherwise you will go whatever is written black and white, and that becomes then your final say, and that's how you build. And to market that guy, there's lot of restrictions what need to be put forward as a message, because this is one market where you can't put anything on advertising. You give an ad कि 2 दिन में गोरा हो गया, 4 दिन में गोरा हो गया, probably tomorrow your product may land somewhere in court. So you have to have that kind of a controlled message. You have to have a focus message, and at the same time you need to bring forward the USP of your products. So you imagine how tight is your landscape to market. The drug remains same, everything remains same, but at the same time, out of 2,000, 3,000 brands, you have to create your brand, and that primarily happens beyond your drug, which include your USPs, drug delivery systems, how you market, and typically in our industry, there are 3 parameters which works. We call it as a art, commerce, and science. Art means relationship building. Commerce, आपने सुना होगा ना, डॉक्टर पैसे खाते हैं, ये करते हैं. These are the ground reality of the market, and that's also influence your consumer to recommend your product. And science is basically the inherent part of your product. Yeah.
That's a different perspective, Jeet, on how building a brand works in pharmaceuticals. Now, on similar lines for you guys, I mean, they still have a bit more luxury in the channels that they have. I think nothing is more restricted than alcohol beverage industry. So maybe I'll keep it as general as possible. How exactly a brand building works from the ideation to the final execution? How just a glimpse of how it works in alcohol beverage industry. How do you navigate those hurdles, and how do you ensure that this product is for this segment of customers and they know that this product exists? So how does that conundrum work?
So 2 aspects to that. First of all, if we think it's the same as any other product, honestly, we consider ourselves to be part of the CPG base only. We compete with them only. Okay, we are, in fact, one of our goal statement is that we want to be the best CPG performing industry. So in one way, it's the same. You're going to the consumers. The other way, I think it's, I mean, you can look at it as a disadvantage or a luxury. You're not able to advertise your product. So what does it mean? It means you have all the N-1 options to actually advertise. You can just whatever you want. Instead of just advertising, okay, I'm going to, this is John Walker to advertise, I can do whatever I want to do. And that's how, probably you remember like the so particular brand with like a fashion week or a sustainability program or your music CDs and all, or as plain as your bottle or soda. Okay, but now if you see, it has changed a lot over the last few years. I mean, we were talking this one. Brand extensions are important because you need to have something to be the face of your brand at the at the ground level. But what you do around it is going to make a lot of difference. So for us, what is important is see whatever is there in the product, in the bottle is important. But the story building around it is a deeper part. In this huge clutter that is there in every consumer's mind, how do I make a position for myself? And similar to the whole process, which takes years to make, this also is a legacy thing. It's there for years and years. In fact, you will come across so many stories where people say, my grandfather was taking this brand, my dad takes, but then I am taking. So it's an emotional connect for you to go ahead with that. So because now more around this purpose-driven marketing. So more than the product, now to become more around the purpose. Am I joining myself to one such purpose and do I believe in that purpose? And if your consumer is the one which is also attached to that purpose, that's how you market and that's how you get the consumer. And when it comes to targeting your consumer, India is, by 2030, it's going to be and it's already on the verge of being the third largest superpower. We have more affluent consumers now, and I think 33% are still under the age of 33. So you have more and more, the legal age consumers entering into the market. So you need to think from that perspective. What is this new generation looking like? And it can be totally different. It can be that those people want to enjoy these things, but without any alcohol. That's how we see a lot of non-alcoholic drinks in the market now. Is that the way to go? Are your upcoming consumers going to clean this field? Or like we strongly promote that drink in moderation, like drink better, drink less, drink better. So what you're saying that you're actually pushing your consumer one level above your premiumization. If you have been taking X for all these years, why don't you switch to Y? Decrease on the volume, increase your class. So, just thinking from that, yeah. So you're basically building that consumer base as well. So, so it's all about this connection of this story. And I think all brands, not only from our company, but for everyone, it has, even Aditi will also agree, it has all now become, that story. If it sticks to you, you are going to be a part of that. So now it is all about purpose.
That's well put. Anybody wants to add to that?
Actually, not just marketing. I think everything is storytelling now. Like even when you're sitting for your placements, it's a storytelling. When I'm sitting with my boss, I have to get budgets. It's a storytelling, right? If I'm sitting with friends and I'm having a good time, it's a storytelling. This art of storytelling is one. Obviously, marketers used to do really well. But for you guys, I guess when you're sitting for the interviews, please storytelling. So,
just one fun fact, guys, you must have realized, when it said that when people drink, so लोग खुल जाते हैं. And the reason behind this is actually people start telling stories, and that's what gets all of them connected, and we just start having a good time. It's just literally everything just burns down to that one more story.
That's an interesting perspective.
What Gayatri wants to say is probably have and then start doing the marketing. The storytelling will follow after that.
Please don't use this in the interview. Take punters there.
So coming back to Aditi, in FMCG especially, there's the use of third-party data like Nielsen, Kantar, etc. to estimate how your sales are going because you don't have complete visibility. This was the story some 10 to 15 years back. Now that's not the case. Now you have digital technologies, enough apps everybody is having that they are able to track it out. So how has the decision making been going? Because you are into that last mile execution. Having this abundance of data is helping you make better decisions, or is it halting your experimentations? How is this paradox going on? Is having huge data helping you be better at your execution, or it's the vice versa?
So in marketing, there are two kinds of data again, right? There is a consumer data, which is the third-party data that you mentioned about, which is a lot, but one which is captured more on the ATL side of it, right? Because and more in digital because that's where more tracking is. But when it comes to newspapers, a channel of marketing, or even TV as a channel of marketing, it is still not very trackable. TV still becomes like in TV also there are technologies that have come that you can capture eyeballs and the tracking is coming, but in newspapers you really don't know what is the ROI. So the third party data, let me address that's captured from digital one. And that also puts me back to the point that it's consumer marketing, right? That's a third party data for consumer marketing. Now the second leg of the data is the trade data, right? Which is the Nielsen and the Kantar that he spoke about. These are research agencies, or these are agencies who who say they possess skills to analyze data. What they essentially do from different forums of marketing is that they because they work with different FMCG or different brands, and they are sitting on quantum of data, they mine it to come with insights for that industry, and they can also benchmark with the competition, which I cannot. Like, I don't know what my competitor is doing. Now that puts FMCG in a space which was actually even 2 years back and even now somewhat, there's a lot of dependency on these research agencies for FMCG to say what is our market share, right? What is the velocity of my sales in the market versus my competition? From my internal data, I can always say, oh, I'm selling fast. My distribution has improved, my volume has improved. But for me to still benchmark against the competition, that data is still with these agencies. Now, third-party data, and I'm going to slightly digress because it's a very nuanced and a very small form of the entire data capturing that happens for marketing. So third-party for consumer, and the Nielsen and the Kantas is more for the trade side. They also mine data with a lot of companies that are, like, example, Tata Sky, or the companies who are in these ATL channel marketing, where they work with them to capture data and mine and again give out insights. Right. So for the FMCG companies, I think we realized this few years back that the dependency is too high, and if you're running a business which is, I mean, and I'll speak from Coke, right? It's literally, if I want to drink the Coke right now, and if it is not present, it's not like I'm going to drink 2 Cokes the next time I feel I want to have a Coke, right? That means availability and the distribution of Coke is what we are obsessed about. I want to be present whenever you feel like having a Coke or a Fanta or a Maaza or a Sprite or a Thumbs Up, because these are all the brands that we sell for different occasions. Now, where does that data come from, right? For so many years, we've been dependent on these agencies, but now we are building our own products, which also I can connect with the work that I am doing, which is in the B2B space, where I can understand from my app, or even in the market, the kind of promos that we do, that what is the velocity of my pack in this particular retailer, right? Or how much does this retailer sell my product versus what is the stock weight I have in this particular retailer at this point in time, which means I have to curb up, like I have to remove the competition so that I can sell more in that. I don't know if you guys have heard this very famous saying, "Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai," which is literally the core of marketing, right? That's they say, "Dikhega to first," and I think it's also a lot of the retailer marketing where that's how we execute in the market. We try to show as much product as possible because dikhega to bikhega, right? Now, and I keep digressing, I keep coming back to the data points. I think now, including Coke, we are building capabilities where we are trying to not be dependent on these firms, so that, I mean, we believe we understand our consumer best, our customer best. And from Coke perspective, I would say we also believe we understand our consumer best. Hence, and digitization, I guess, is where it's helping us capture our data. Now, and it's a boon and a bane both when you have so much of data, because data means nothing till the time you have insights out of it. It's literally. And let me also say, not even insights, actionable insight. Sure, you identified in this outlet, this person is selling, say, 100 cases in a day. What will you do about it? Right? So actionable insight from that data is the key. And yeah, I think that's where we all are, like, including all the companies break their head as to how can you, and not the more quantum of data, but the more qualitative data where you can get actionable insights. Yeah. At one point to the next stage. And I'm going to say that because I'm going to speak on the side of this super critical. And just for an example, especially when it comes to consumer data. and we all now believe it has to be targeted advertising. There's a clutter. How do you, so either I'll spend 100 rupees and I can advertise it to, let's say, 1,000 people, or I'll spend the 100 rupees and I will only target those 200 people. So now I've switched to the second one. I really want to target those 200 people, and more in the sense, for example, if this particular product, I only want to show who is going to use connected TV. Okay, I mean, it's to that strata of the society. This is where I'm going to connect. Again, coming back. Let's say I'm a targeted consumer. I saw that ad on Hotstar, and I'm going to now Z5. Am I still going to see it on Z5, or I feel that I have already targeted my consumer once to Hotstar? I'm not going to show it again on Z5. So those are the kind of insights, so those are the kind of actions we need to take basis data, and we are getting this power to do only because of data. So just an example, data को क्या कर सकते हैं?
Adding one more point, it's not no specific to FMCG industry. Most of companies have started building a data-centric approach. Because everyone understands the power of a data, not only from a data collection point of view, analytics point of view, or action point of view. Because it's being considered after oil. The next big thing is going to be now how much data you will have within an organization, and that's where most of companies have started realizing that and building their own data rather than relying more on these outsourced agencies. And that gives you a really good opportunity that within an organization now you will start seeing a lot of functions coming on data analytics, or not only analytics and probably a data action marketing.
I do want to add, I think, even though we are talking data, data is nothing without seeing it in the market. That data means nothing. Data can say anything till the time you're not able to corroborate with a hypothesis from the market, or you can have a hypothesis and corroborate that hypothesis with data in the market with your eyes. It means nothing.
So this is saying you can torture data enough to tell the story you want to tell.
It's only storytelling with data, but that's not reality. And I mean, as marketers, you can go so wrong if you are only relying on the data and not going in the market and seeing what's really happening and combining it with insights. But these are more qualitative insights that you will get from your consumer and customer, who will actually tell you. Data will never tell you.
Thanks for bringing up the consumer research part of it. Now I'm slightly digressing, but it's a question for all the three of you. What was the funniest interaction you had with a customer when you were on field? Or the most interesting one, funniest interesting, any interaction or that made you like, oh, why didn't I see this in my office? Something else. What is the insight that you got out of it? I mean, if it's confidential, that's fine. Otherwise, if you want to take a shot, the floor is open.
Very recently, I can correlate that. I once went to meet a doctor. They're just like pitching our product. We were just listening after probably 5 minutes. So normally we go in a team. We asked other people to go out, and after that said, "यार बाकी सब ठीक है. मेरे को खुद नौकरी चाहिए. अपनी कंपनी में नौकरी है क्या?" So sometimes it becomes so funny that probably the customer who's you feel that he's your prospective customer, he's looking the other way. Yeah, आप मुझे नौकरी दे दो. तुम्हारी कंपनी में क्या है डॉक्टर? Because normally our setup, there are a lot of consultants who get hired, doctor as a consultant to give you marketing insight, research insight. That's one thing.
Thanks for sharing that.
Very, very funny one with a Bangalore auto driver. Me and one more my colleague, we were traveling, and because we were discussing about brands, so the person overheard, and it's like, "अच्छा, तो आप ये बनाते हो?" But आपके उसको ना वो मजा नहीं आता जो मुझे ओल्ड मॉक में मिलता है. We don't know what to say. I mean, we do understand the cult following of that brand, but that's a very terrible insight we got. That we cannot return. He can never be a consumer. We understood that day. Okay, he is another level.
That's also important. Listen, who's not your customer is also important.
I think for us, this happens all the time in the market because when you're actually your customer is the king is in its a real sense. Because whenever we are going to an outlet to sell my Coke, Fanta LJ, Sprite LJ, they're always scolded. Like, one experience where we had, so our CEO is in the market and he's a Latin American guy. He does not understand Hindi, right? So we are in the market and typically how it happens is when you're in market visits, it's all painted. It's a picture of success that's painted from first store to the 10th store. Even you would have planned if there is a vehicle that's going to stop to delay his car because you're not prepared. It's planned to that level also when you have very senior managers in the market, right? And they also know because everyone has gone through that process of painting the picture. So he's there in the market and so you painted for 10 outlets, right? And there will always be few outlets who are not ready to because you give me this first, right? Or the competition is giving me this, I will support you if you will give me this and only otherwise I'll say something to your CEO. And management being management, they know these 10 outlets, but they will see the 11th outlet, which will be hidden somewhere because they know that you've not painted it. And if they want actual insight, they go to that outlet. So he always picks these outlets, and now we've also learned. So we paint them half now, not really. So he goes there, and this guy, so he's not feeling very great with the service that our distributor is providing to that person, and he starts scolding our CEO. That was the worst, like that was the most embarrassing, and our CEO and of course us together, we are literally looking down, taking all of notes about everything that he's saying, and sure, sir, we'll do it, and we walk out of there. So this actually is like a day-to-day scenario, which is sometimes it's very funny that how your customer king in its real sense is what you see in the market. But Aditi, follow-up question: did you see you understood those galis or? Also, then they often ask us to translate, right? And you can translate however.
Thanks for sharing the stories. It paints a picture that your marketing is not only about advertising. There are many facets that go in the marketing. Now, coming back to our topic at hand, how do you navigate brand equity in times of economic turbulence? Now, this is a question for all the three of you. Usually, when in times of recession or high inflation, the first casualty is your advertising and marketing budgets. So how do you navigate these conversations? How do you ensure that your team, since you're leaders in your respective industries, how do you ensure that you're present and not losing out in the long run?
So any turbulence or any situation probably needs to be always looked at from a two windows. Number one, of course, if there is a situation, there is a challenge. That means you are expecting some kind of erosion to happen in your sales, in your customer, and your brand equity. And the best way to address such situation is always focus on your loyal prospects, on loyal customers. Because they are the one who have built your brand. And if the situation is there, probably they are the first one who will catch or understand the situation. For example, typically in pharma industry, such situation only comes if there is a change in regulation. There is a product probably which was approved by authority, and after few years, probably the authority feels This is an irrational combination. And a lot of the time you see cup syrup, पहले चलता था, now it has become suddenly out of way, irrational. So probably that the customer who has been loyal with you, who has understood your product, who has experienced your product, they are the one who understand the core value, the core message of the product. And if you go and address them, probably your linkage or your brand loss in brand equity is going to be a bit less. So spend more on those core customers. And the second side of such situation, which should be always looked, is once a challenge, if there is an loss, there is an opportunity also, which is always available, because demand is going to be always there. It's just a shift of a demand which is going to happen. So you need to always look, what is the opportunity in this situation, which I can encash. So on one hand, you protect your customers, and on second hand, to keep that growth, to keep your business sustainable, you need to look at a new opportunities also. Like typically you see in healthcare sector, everyone knows COVID में क्या हुआ था, है ना? Probably pharma industry itself, एक healthcare crisis था. Almost every company had almost 50% of sale loss. Imagine half of your business is gone over few weeks, and it was not that demand has gone somewhere. That demand has shifted from one disease to another disease. What happened in COVID? Everyone was looking for immunity. Everyone was looking for some solution, vaccine. So that demand, that consumption of a medicine which earlier used to be probably to maintain healthcare or something else, iron, calcium, that suddenly the focus gets shifted to more on a vaccines, how I can protect myself, mask, hand sanitizer. So during that situation, if you keep yourself, okay, no, this is a situation, and don't look at an opportunity, probably you are missing the bus. That's what I feel. How you sail through these challenges or turbulence, you look both the side of the coin. See one side how you can protect existing business and how you can catch the opportunity.
Actually, I can give you two different sides to this. So in my erstwhile role where I was on the brand side, whenever there was this crisis for funds, one, marketing is very ROI driven. Like from every brand manager, you will be asked, what is the ROI for this buck that you are spending, right? The moment it gets to sure the funds are limited, I believe brand managers also find more frugal ways of connecting with the consumer or their customer, whosoever they're targeting to. For me, I remember this was, I think, 2018 or 19. We're launching this new product, the new Swift that you see in the market. And once you've launched, you've exhausted like majority chunk of your yearly budget is gone, right? And then okay, I'm going to take a step back. At the start of the year, firstly, you're assigned a budget. You will make a calendar that for this entire year, I have in this quarter or this time period, I have this activity planned. You will allocate some budget to it. And you will also say, what are the brand metric I am going to drive with this each activity. With every campaign or with every activity that you're running, if you're not delivering, your budget keeps going down because you're left with less and less to deliver the same number. Because ultimately it's target, right? Then what do you do? Okay. So for me, back then in the situation, I was left with lesser money. Good part was that I was on track with the brand metrics, but the sales target that we had estimated was not at par. And now this is a new brand. You invested so much in the launch, and it was used to be a bread and butter for Maruti Suzuki back then, Swift, because the maximum profit, it was the most profit-making product back then. And how can your most profit-making product not sell? So then we navigated navigated towards more experiential marketing. And I would say the idea for you to take is you move to more frugal ways. You move to ways where you can connect with your consumer in the same way, but with lesser money. So you keep finding different channels and creative ways of marketing that essentially happens. Now I'm gonna bring this back to my current industry where actually it's very different. The moment the business is down, we invest more in the market. We invest more in marketing because till the time consumer is not gonna drink Coke and I can't put more stock at the retailer end because if the stock is not moving, the consumer is not drinking, the stock is not moving, I can't dump more, right? And it becomes a cycle. So in here, whenever there is a downturn, we invest more in the market. Again, we find frugal ways, which essentially means more than say these expensive channels of marketing, we move more towards executing in the market, which is executing at the point of sale, which is where actually the consumer is buying the product. In this now the landscape also, again, we were talking Q-commerce, right, which is becoming, which has become a very prominent channel of sales for a lot of companies, not just CPG and FMCG, but you name the category, it has become. In those times, in those difficult times, you start investing in those channels where you know which will help move your product faster. So that's how typically, I guess, you navigate.
I should start one point. That's a very logical perspective. If everybody is cutting down their budgets and you cannot put more stock, it's better you are investing in brand marketing so that at least your brand is in the customer mind space at that point in time. Actually, very logical in hindsight. I'm not sure why people don't do that.
I know most of marketing will always think that if such crises are there, we need to overspend rather than underspend, because it's like most of the time competition probably is thinking the other way. They are also thinking this is an opportunity, let's increase the aggression of marketing. And if you are missing that, then probably you are on a
classic business dilemma. Yeah. You want to add something?
Yeah, I would like to bring two concepts here on budget. And of course, I agree, typically I don't see a total marketing budget unless and until your MSP has totally gone for a toss. And just to give a background, so I look after both marketing as well as indirect spends. And of my total spend, marketing, which we call the A, your advertising and promotional spend, that is like 85% of my spend. And when I say indirect, it gets your IT, your real estate, your professional service, everything. So that is the magnitude of A&P in a CPG or alcohol company like us. So that's typically not targeted. Second, just to manage, so this turbulence will keep coming and going. So there's a concept called A&P optimized investment. Basically, how much you are investing into, and we have three different sectors. A little bit I'll step back. We are a part of Diageo globally. So they also have certain matrices. Same matrices are also expected from a dark market like us, and we have our own nuances. So their investment says typically your A&P is broken out into three parts. One is your mass scale and reach. And that should be the majority, like more than 50% of your spend should go there, which means that anything which is there out always in front of you, and this can constitute your ads or your OH and all those things, which is always out there. So it's a mass scale and it's a larger scale. The second one is the one which is directly touching your consumer. For example, whatever I'm going to spend inside your store, where the customer comes and interact, that part. That is a further reduced part. And the third part, which we typically call as a non-working spend, is all the things that you are actually spending to create these two. So your focus should be to keep that last spend to the minimum. In fact, we have a certain ratio, it's a slightly confidential, not using it all. But that is measured on the brand level. So आपका brand अच्छा करे, बुरा करे, जो भी करो, your development spend or the non-working spend is not going to cross that fixed amount. And how you're going to keep it is something you have to come up with innovative ideas.
of doing. And I'll just give one example. So we do a lot of this events and all where we manufacture large bars and we put. So typical way is okay, bar manufacture kar liya, laga liya, we are done. Now we're thinking, let's say to manufacture that particular bar, I've spent 1,000 rupees. Now I'm slightly, because of these crunches and everything, I know what I have to, crunch my budget. So what I'll do, instead of that 1,000, I'll spend 1,200. But I will ensure that that bar is now being used for 7 times. So basically, I'm pumping in more money to make a slightly better product. I'll invest in technology to keep that tracking. So after that event, it goes back to the warehouse. I know what condition it is going out. For the next one, instead of creating a new one, I'll pump in some refurbishment cost and I will reutilize. This also goes along with my sustainability goals. So all of it, sometimes during stages like this, instead of seeing for cost cutting or something, it might work where you can redesign your process a little bit more. Pump in a little bit more money, but see the total cost for 7 events versus this one. So just for example.
That's actually nice of you to share what happens on ground. With this, I would open the floor for questions from students. Pass on the mic.
Can I speak like this? You can take this one, yeah. Yeah. So, good evening. So, I have a question for all of you. As there are marketing for a product which has needs and demands easier, like you can sell some noodles and something is easy. But there are products where you have to create some education first. Let's like we can say the sanitary pads. You have to first create some sort of education and you have to provide knowledge to the customers. So, how does that part of marketing be done? Can you please add something to that?
I can definitely add. I think G, because his industry is so close to that, will add the most value in this conversation. Goes back to the art of storytelling, right? And I think for each product, there is a need. There is a need state that you're trying to cater to with every product. Now, some products, the need state may seem very apparent, but for some products, the need state is underlying, right? And when you're saying education, I think the pillars that I see are occasions for that product. You start making them more apparent in your conversations and communications. You also bring in usage of the product that the consumer themselves don't know yet. And I'm not taking the example of the sanitary pads that you took, but I'm talking about a product in which the need state exists, but you can't market very clearly. This is what I would think. Occasions and also you start creating new usage of that product. Like you show it to the consumer, how else can they consume this? That's also, I think, brings me to that's what happens in alcohol also. Because mixers, for example, for beverage, for alcohol, you can't market, but you show them the story around it and say, oh, this is how you could use this product or have this also. And I think to your point of education, it actually means awareness. And to your particular example of sanitary napkins, that awareness is required to break the taboo. So be it the sanitary napkin case or the alcohol care case, it is always a taboo. When I have faced, this because it's like, I work in alcohol industry. Most of the time, even I also come to face it. So imagine if you actually, what is the shame in using that product? So you have to break that taboo. So that's why your whole marketing goes around building the story. story behind it. So, the more meaningful you share the story to break that particular taboo is how you're going to.
Yes, want a different perspective from a pharma point of view. If I have to talk, probably the awareness carries a key here. Like if you are looking for a totally kind of blue ocean market, this healthcare product normally you only consume once you have awareness. Like of late, if you see how the shift is taking place, we think healthcare earlier only when someone is landing up at a hospital, pain hua, dard hua, kuch hua. But how post COVID, the landscape is totally shifting. People are more focusing on a preventive healthcare, right? That before the disease comes, you are already taking certain steps to ensure, like healthy aging, skin care, all these products. How out of a sudden we start using? Why? Because there is a lot of awareness which is being created. And then the marketing approach is totally different. You basically pitch that hidden need, which is already there. You create a lot of awareness. You talk about a lot of benefit that if you can age well without any kind of a disease or anything. And when you talk about existing product, probably your focus more remains on competing with others. Your competition, what he is talking and how you are pitching against, that's how approach is totally different from, at least from a side. Yeah.
Good afternoon. The question is, any one of you can answer. You talked about marketing happening at different levels of the distribution, sales distribution channels. We have retailers, we have distributors, we have wholesalers. So there is a lot of trade promotion that happen at the retailers level. So I just want to know what are other kind of trade promotions that happen at wholesaler or distributor level. Like in retailers, you can merchandise your product by keeping a particular. We see beverages, they put up a dedicated refrigerator for their branded products, and so because wholesalers are not bound to a particular brand, similar to retailers, because they only take products which can give them more sales or make more profit. So what kind of trade promotions that happen at the distributor or wholesaler?
I think trade works with only one principle. मेरे लिए कितना फायदा है? That's a typical approach of a trader. Of course, there has to be a demand there, but this basic is a trader is looking what? He's there for a business, right? You always look for a kind of a margin. How much margins he's getting, the selling product A, product B. That's one critical part, and then at a trade level, probably there is a lot of promotion also can be done, right? Marketing can be done, but again, that marketing is only from a point of view that how you are increasing their business. At the end of the day, he's only thinking money, money, and money. We'll take 2 more questions.
Yeah, I'll quickly answer that. For each of the stakeholders in the value chain, there is a margin. Now, margin is one sort of a trade promo, but a different type of, and I'm going to keep this short, different type of trade promos can be, one can be a discount amount, which can be basically given on the top of the margin, and it could vary for retailer, wholesaler, and distributor. All of them get promotion from companies with flat discount amounts. The second type of promotion could be free stocks, where you give free any stock for them, right, which also holds value. Now, and it's mostly when new launches, new products are launched, it's more free stock because it also helps you place that product in the market, right? And different, I would say, if it's an old brand, different trade promotion will be used. If it's a new product, different type of trade promotion. The other one could be, as you said, and Jeet said, that placing your point of material sale, like your marketing material at the outlet, that is itself also sort of a trade promo. Now you can also, because why will he do it for free, right? And he added what is in it for him. So you can also give them payouts again in the form of flat discounts, free stocks for them to place your marketing material in their outlet, which is also a trade promo.
See, means and ways can be multiple. So, like in trade, like she is saying, discount offer होते हैं, cash offer होता है, trips offer होते हैं, there are multiple ways which you influence. But at the end of the day, he looks what is there for me.
Yeah. Good evening. Good afternoon. So my question is to Aditi ma'am. So you talked about the lack of quality third-party data. So to track ATL, so we have like organizations as BARC, like BARC. So why can't all brands can come together, like big FMCG brands or CPG brands, and they can kind of create an association which can track data, because they are spending almost 40-50% of their budget into ATL only.
One, law will not allow that. It will count as anti-competition law that exists for it. So it will be like a so competition brands cannot collude. One. So FMCG companies, by way of being in the same industry, classified as similar, you can't come together for a certain cause because it can count as collusion. One. Even if law allows it to, and I feel it's not just for FMCG, it holds true for any industry. It's not our core, it's not our business, right? We can make it our business. And probably, I don't know, even at Coke, we are thinking how we can leverage data and maybe at some point sell data or however, but it's not the core business. Industries and at such level, they stick to their core basis, and unless you're changing the business model completely, then it's a different story. But you will, it's not your expertise. And why will you invest money and people and resources into something where you do not have expertise? Because for that, anyway, you have to hire people and get expertise. So it turns out to be cheaper if you actually buy it off the market instead of creating these expertise in-house. But like in most of the cases.
Like you track everything when you spend. So companies are spending like billions of dollars into the marketing of, let's say, newspaper marketing or TV advertising. So there should be an organization or tools which they can create, and maybe a independent body which can be formed that can help us planning them.
For example, in pharma sector, there are bodies which I don't know how many have heard about ABEX, which is a association of traders only. Earlier, it used to be primarily a data source used to be IQVIA, ORG or IQVIA. But now slowly they have started creating such, but it all depends how cohesive are those organizations at the end of the day, whether they are ready to function beyond their core areas, or if they look for opportunities, they may be doing it. Maybe FMCG, the area or geographies of operation are so vast. Probably the collection of data from one association could be really tough.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm really sorry due to the paucity of time. We have to end the Q&A here. Post this summit, if suppose somebody is interested, we will of course let you know where our speakers will be available. I would like to take the vote of thanks. Firstly, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed panelists, Aditi ma'am, for sharing her expertise on the importance of storytelling, actionable insights, and the delicate balance between consumer and customer marketing, especially in the beverage industry. Your insights on leveraging data to drive the ROI and understanding the nuances between channel and consumer marketing were valuable, of course. Jeet sir, thank you for illuminating your perspective from the pharmaceutical industry, especially regarding the importance of the sector's contribution in India's GDP. Your discussion on the unique challenges in healthcare marketing, targeting healthcare professionals rather than end consumers, and navigating the complexities of selling science versus service was particularly eye-opening. Gayatri ma'am, your thoughts on brand building in the alcohol beverage sector, the keep walking ethos, and how to stay agile during economic downturns and geopolitical challenges were truly inspiring. The importance of emotional connection, especially with the consumers in the face of industry-specific challenges, gave us a deeper understanding of resilience and brand equity. Special thanks to our moderator, Saga sir, for steering the conversation so effectively, bringing out the best from our panelists and engaging with the audience through thoughtful questions. To our audience, of course, thank you for your participation and in the engaging questions you all have added, which of course added depth to the discussion. With this, I thank you all once again for your time, and I look forward to continue discussions and collaborations in the future. I would like to request the SECs to please felicitate our guests.
Ladies first.
Name by.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good idea.
Let's take one selfie from you so that everybody comes.
You can cheer, huh?
Thank you guys. Thank you.